You want to fight crime? Let's get dangerous.
And it did not have me already lined up here, but nevertheless, we are here. It is another Saturday, and it is that time once again for another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. I'm Joe D. McPhee. I'm the host of this show here, and hopefully we get some people involved here because, like I said, I do this every Saturday for you guys out there who have questions about pretty much the comic book industry, pop culture, and stuff to that magnitude, and going from there. But so far so good. Everything seems to be on the up and up. I'm a little bit worse for wear here. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, in my life here. But it is what it is for right now. But let's get the business end of things out the way by talking about Stupid O'Clock, which is happening right now, not at 11 p.m. There is no more Last Man Standing, and we got Nevermind the Furthermore happening at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this upcoming Monday. And if you haven't been catching it, Comic Book Spectrum has been going on, and we've been having a lot of fun, except for the idea of kosher dill pickles and peppermint sticks. You have to be there. You have to be there this past Thursday to understand that comment, but it is happening again. Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. So with that being stated here, we are at the point where we could go ahead and do new comic book pickups for the week, but I'm going to give people a little bit more time to get in here because we do have a little stack of books here to actually go through here for new comic book pickups for the week. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with new comic book pickups for the week here. Usually, like I said, people, this is people's favorite part of the show. Usually we start off really, really good, but I guess people are going to try to come in toward the tail end because they don't know what I'm talking about tonight. And tonight's topic, it makes sense once I explain it because it's about diversions and finding something in akin to what you're trying to go after as far as not just only relaxation, but kind of recharging your batteries creatively and everything else as far as being like a writer, creator, and everything to that magnitude. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But now, new comic book pickups for the week here. Stuff that have came in, such as Wonder Woman 179 came in today. Not today, but over this week here. Yes, this is a minor key issue. This is technically the first issue that explains the loss of Diana's powers during the 1970s here, and the first appearance of I Chang in comic books as a whole here. So this is the issue that people who want to know about the time frame where Diana lost her powers, it starts here. Issue 179 here. So I got a better copy of it now. This is more of an upgrade than anything else here. We got gifted a Archie ME 17, which is a nice low number here, and another low number of Archie's Joke Book, which is number 66. So we got those gifted to us here. And you notice that Archie there is actually advocating for higher teachers' salaries here. So that is interesting itself here. We got a copy of Catwoman, Absolute Catwoman #1. So this is going to be on the read pile for like Comic Book Spectrum after I finish dealing with Planet She-Hulk here. And if you want to know how I'm feeling about Planet She-Hulk, you need to watch Comic Book Spectrum because I have reviewed the first 4 issues here, and that is something that is there here. And oh, hi Christy. Now you get to see me. Now you get to see my show instead of me watching you play Dead by Daylight here. So yes, this is most people's favorite part of the show here, which is new comic book pickups for the week here. But I get into more stuff about the stuff that I work on and stuff to that magnitude here. So it is cool here that you are watching for the very first time here. So that is cool. And she is watching for Twitch. So that is cool. So we are simulcasting. So we're simulcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time here. So getting back into new comic book pickups for the week, I have this little hot little number right here, which is X Factor 133 from Volume 1. And why is X Factor 133 so important? Well, it's important in this aspect here. And the reason why is it finally completes the run that I have of X Factor. So now I have every last issue of X Factor Volume 1 with this one issue here. And it's like, nice. I love comics. So yeah, it's right up my alley. Yep. Oh, then you might like this next one too, because I span the gambit of a lot of different things here. If we start off with a good golden, some good golden, not golden age, silver age books, but now we're going into the golden age here. We got Jungle Comics number 99 here. So, I've been recently trying to get into a lot of the older Matt Baker comics here, and this has a Camilla comic inside of this here. It's a little bit worse for wear. I'm not certain if the camera could pick it up within my light, but the cover is really ripped all the way up here and this, down, the other. And it is being held on. The top staple is not all the way there, but it's probably best for me to show you outside of it. It's a little bit rolled, and I'm going to show you it is a little bit rolled and everything, so I have to get that. Back cover is a little bit ripped up there, and then you got that big long rip right there. But it is a classic here, mainly not just because of the Camilla story here. I'm not certain if this is Matt Baker art here, but we got the old school classic Camilla story here. And just to let you guys actually, it's a bottom staple. It's the bottom staple that's detached here. So that's the thing here. The bottom staple is detached. But the main thing here is that this is one of those classic covers because of the so-called bondage type deal here. I don't know what it is about people and women in bondage and all this other stuff that want to drive up the price of books, but it is what it is here. But yeah, that is a golden age great here. What year? 1948. This is the 1948 from 1948. Jungle Comics from 1948 here. So then we're going to jump right back. I believe this is going to be more Bronze Age now, because now we're going to go into Red Sonja number 15. This is definitely an upgrade to the one that I have here from Volume 1. Like, yeah, that is, when I go comic book hunting, I go comic book hunting. And if you've been keeping up with a lot of my shows here, it's like most of my comic book buying is slowing down because I'm only collecting what I'm collecting now. I'm not really into getting into a lot of the new modern stuff. And then a lot of the series that I have here, such as, like Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman 750 here from like Volume 5. Like, for example, Wonder Woman. It's like I have like every last Wonder Woman book from volume 1, issue 130 to almost like the present. So it's like I only, really collecting series to maintain the runs and everything to that magnitude here. But everything else that I have completed, like the X Factor, I'm not really trying to go out and find new X Factor books. I have completed what I wanted to complete and pretty much leaving it at that here. But Wonder Woman 750 came in today. And then we're going to go more modern here, which is, no, well, actually it is modern, but we got Strange number 10. This is, yes, the Clea run of Strange here. And with this particular issue as well, we have to also go. The run is actually complete. Finally got all 10 issues of Strange for, I think this is Strange Volume 2, if I'm correct here, which is the Clea series, where Clea becomes Sorcerer Supreme. And it was a very interesting run, nonetheless. I still have to read this here, but it was a very interesting run, and I actually like Clea as a character for the Mystic Arts here, as as a potential person to take over for Stephen Strange. It makes sense, after reading this, it makes sense here. Now, going back to early Silver Age here, we gotta go early Silver Age to Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, issue number 55, where it's Lois getting upset because Superman has a wife and kids by some other mystery lady who is being covered up. Notice that they cover her face and everything here. It's like, challenge, can you guess who Superman's secret wife is? I don't really know, don't really care, but a lot of these books is just hilarious to me. What they got away with back in the day, dealing with Lois Lane and how they wrote her from like the 1950s to, and when they get to the 70s start making sense. They made her more liberated, but her constantly fawning over Superman and Superman being a jerk, I don't know what it is about those stories. It's just hilarious to me here. Now I'm trying to complete this miniseries here, and I'm one issue away from doing so. We got Wonder Woman Come Back to Me. That was a 6-issue miniseries by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. So we got issue 4 and issue 5. I have an issue 6 coming in the mail soon. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for when it shows up here. That way we can have the nice little fanfare to say, yes, we have completed it. But yes, we are one issue away from completing that series. And we have done some nice little serious work to complete New Mutants Volume 4. Yeah, that is a true gem. Yep. So now we got New Mutants Volume 4 here. We got issue 29, 32 twice. Sometimes that happens. I order something twice and don't realize it. And issue number 12. So I got them out of order. So it's 12, 29, and 230 and 232s here, which is nice. I still have to finish that run here. Then we got a Convergence Crime Syndicate 1. And I believe in this one, they went back to like the Silver Age, the early Silver Age version of Crime Syndicate. And last but not least, for new comic book pickups for the week here, we got a Panther number 5, which is from Dynamite Comics here. It's a newer read here because, I am not very familiar with the legacy of Panther. I haven't read a lot of the older Silver Age stuff, but since Dynamite has brought her back to the forefront, I decided to give it a try and see if I actually liked it here. So that was new comic book pickups for the week here. And it was very interesting here. Quick little comic book update, which we always do here. We have some of the major series that I'm still trying to finish here. If I could, well, I guess that will scroll. Let's scroll down here. Did it get removed? No, it didn't get removed. There we go. So here we go. No update on Film Force here. I'm still looking for like the last more recent issues for Film Force, starting with issue 109 here. We know that there is at least 210 issues in the run as of right now. So this actual graphic is not up to date, but is close enough. And then we do have Dark Horse Ghost here, which is this one is pretty accurate here. There is still issues from volume 1 and volume 2 and volume 3 and volume 4 that I still need to get here. We're getting closer to finishing up a lot more of Will Eisner's The Spirit here. We're getting closer to ending the kitchen sink run more so than anything else. I do know that I just paid for a whole bunch of kitchen sink. I think it's like somewhere between three to six more issues of the kitchen sink run from The Spirit here. And I'm still missing, I believe, only 2 magazines from the old school Warrant Publishing here. And this graphic would definitely change sooner than later here. With X-Men, we still missing the 2 issues from Uncanny X-Men Volume 5, and then all of the newer stuff that's is out right now. So I haven't been really keeping up with modern X-Men here. But it goes to show you, for owning everything for the first 4 volumes, it is what it is for right now. And Wonder Woman wise here, I just haven't really pulled the trigger to start buying stuff from Metropolis Comics again, to start knocking this number down, the magic number of 106 down to below the 100, below 100 as of yet. It is what it is for right now. It's like when you're in that book range where each issue costs you on average anywhere between $30 to $50. It's kind of like one of those things. It's like, yeah, if I have it to spend, I would do it. But there's other series. I really want to complete it, and I'm getting scared. I get scared when I cross the threshold when I'm in the 100s or the low 100s, because that's when it goes from like 20, anywhere between 30 to 50 to $100 plus per issue. It's just something that is just not fun here. And then the X-Men run that was famously started by Jim Lee, we still missing odd issues for like the last 2 volumes here. But again, we have everything from the first 4, so it is what it is. So the history is there. I know I got pretty much all the historic stuff here. And for those who don't know, I really don't collect annuals. I could go back and get the annuals, but it is what it is for right now. But we're going to come back to the comments here. Oh, wow. I didn't know we had a raid. Yeah, I mean, I've been collecting for years. I've been collecting for a lot of years, and back in 2008, I actually crossed the threshold from being comic book collector to comic book writer, artist type deal too. So it is what it is here. And yeah, that is cool. So now with that being done and said, we going to switch gears to the production update. And our production update, what I have been doing as of late here is that I've been on a pinup kick here. And hopefully my mouse will work correctly, because now it seems like it stopped. It was working perfectly fine earlier today, and now if this is not working, then I have to try to do something else here. Yeah, we're going to do something else here. Hold on. And let's come to the comics here. And Christy is saying hello to Micah. Everybody's agreeing with it. I was like, oh man, yeah. I'm about to show you some of the safe for work pinups that I've been working on over the past week here. Well, hold on. This happened every so often here, where the mouse just want to act funny. So when my mouse start acting funny, I have to kind of like do the whole come in and come out thing. There we go. So this one here, I actually named the three warrior women. We got them in kind of like in a coliseum and everything here. For those that don't know, I do two of my books, comic books, in DOS Studio, which means that I do a lot of 3D graphical work as a whole here. And this one's called Three Warrior Women. Now, this one right here is an actual remastering of a 13 by 19 poster that I did for Amazonia back in, I want to say it was like 2015 here. So I actually redid it and made some fine changes and everything from the original, and it came back out pretty nice. Actually, I prefer this one than the original one as a whole here. Yeah, it takes me to even to connect sometimes. Yeah. Thank you, Micah. And then now we got this one. I call this one cheering for you, dealing with some ultra tall cheerleaders who are there in a dorm room. This one is called preparation. They're about to get ready to go to war and everything to that magnitude. And then this one is called puberty is cruel but exciting. And then we got this one, which is a classic pinup of She-Hulk. So we did a classic pinup of She-Hulk, and then and the last one is called Statues, which is part of an adult story that I'm working on, which I'm not at liberty to really talk in depth about because I'm still hashing out everything as a whole here. But that's pretty much what I can show on the interwebs without violating any, if I could say, any strike violations or anything to that magnitude due to nudity or anything to that magnitude. I just don't, I have to do like the safe for work type stuff first. Thank you so much. Sometimes it's not as easy to get people to actually view your artwork and actually see what you do behind the scenes. So this is one of the reasons why I do this particular show on Saturdays from the desk here. People always wonder what it's like to be a creator, what it's like to actually publish comic books, what it's actually like to have that one-on-one question where you could go in, and ask, hey, why did you write this in the story in the first place? It doesn't make any sense. Or why did this character have to act this way as opposed to that way? So, that was the thought behind this particular show. And for like the past decade, it works. It has been working, and I have, gathered a little bit of an audience, and I have never missed a Saturday. Even if I was at a convention, I have never missed a Saturday as of yet. I come on and let you guys know that I'm alive and around and what's going on here. Well, I'm still working on the craft. I'm still trying to get better and better at it here. And like I said before, I have done really comic book series dealing in this type of art style for quite some time here. So that was Prime Time Saturday night that I just showed you here. And then at C2E2 this year, we just released Legends of the Giantess Slayer. This is our very first, if I could say, adult book, not, 18 and over book that we have ever done here. So that's kind of like the key thing here. And I believe Christy has like the first couple of issues of Primetime Saturday Night, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's what she said. She just said it. It's like, yeah, I still have that one. Yeah, it's like, well, now I'm a follower and like I'm cheering for you, sir. Thank you very much here. And just to let people know, it's like, no, I still do the hand drawn stuff here. I write, I still write and draw the interiors for Amazonia. We're on like issue number 8 for this series here. I have to finish that issue up because I know a lot of people have been wondering what's been going on with me and why I'm up here, doing a lot of other series other than that here. And then our other hand drawn series, which I'm going to go back to draw myself because I had another artist do the artwork from like issue number 2 to issue number 4, which is AWF, which is the behind the scenes type of stuff that happens in prime time Saturday night here. But that's pretty much where everything is at here, which brings us to kind of like to tonight's topic. Why is it called Yugi Joe? Because every so often you guys have time to clear your mind and everything here. So in other words, I have taken the time to go back and rebuild one of my Yu-Gi-Oh decks, and I had to rebuild it from scratch here because I always played online. So now I'm trying to get the cards and build it in person, and that way I have it just in case I meet other people who play. And for those who paid attention to the thumbnail, it's like, oh, you just photoshopped that. It's like, no, I was at San Diego Comic Con 2014, and they actually had a Konami booth where they actually allowed you to have your own personal token card. So what I actually did was just scan my actual token card and made tonight's thumbnail off of. So yeah, I've been, playing, collectible card games ever since I was like, in college here, but I guess gave up. I kind of gave up on it because it got too costly and it wasn't paying the bills here. How good was I in collectible card games? Depends on the card game. It depends on the card game. I was never very good at Magic the Gathering. I was okay with Marvel Overpower, which eventually expanded to DC and Image. But the one that I was really good at was a game that was owned by Decipher back in the day. They had the Star Wars franchise here. So they had a Star Wars collectible card game. And when the prequels came out, they came out with a card game called Young Jedi. In Young Jedi, I was in the top 100 in the world in that game. And I used to go to different comic book conventions and teach other people how to play that game. So that gives you an idea. It's like I run that spectrum to like I'm okay to, yeah, I was one of the best that could be out there here. And there's Elaine. Everybody say hello to Elaine. Elaine is my editor for most of my comics here. So she shows up and everything here. And it's like, yeah, and Micah is saying nice and everything. And nice. So pretty much over the last couple of days here, I've just been picking up different cards to rebuild my deck and everything. I'm not going to show people what my deck is. I'm going to let that be a mystery, but I do have a handful of stuff that I came across or was given or was purchased because of nostalgia, like Monster Reborn. Regeki I actually bought because that was going to be like a reserve card for my deck here if I need to switch out cards and different things here. And this legendary Six Samurai Kaizen, this one kind of represent one of my buddies here who I played Yu-Gi-Oh with online. And I was thinking about building his deck, his actual deck and actual cards and everything, but I decided not to. And then most people have the nostalgia of, yes, there it is, Dark Magician. And yes, if you got Dark Magician, you have to also have Dark Magician Girl. Now, this one, I believe, was gifted to me because that was my first purchase, but I have no idea why somebody would give me Penguin Sword. That's what that card is. It's a spell equipped card called Penguin Sword, and it gives people different advantages and everything to that magnitude. And then we finally get our first fusion card, which is Invoke Catius. Don't know how or why I got that. And then one of the ones that started the whole franchise, That is the main card for Exodia, the Forbidden One. That is the actual head here. No, I don't have both of his arms and legs as of yet, but that's the actual main one. And then we have a Korean Mirror Force. And the only reason I bought that because that was the first one I came across here before I was able to get other copies of Mirror Force to put in my deck here. And everybody is greeting Elaine here. Yes, Penguin. It literally says it right there. I'm going to get it. I'm going to try to get it in focus. Let me take it out of this deck protector for it. It won't have the. It is a foil card. I'm trying to get it to come up here. But yes, it says Penguin Sword. It won't focus. Focus. It is a foil card. So it's like the sword is actually right there in the foil. And there's the little bitty penguin right there. Penguin sword. Yay, penguin. And it says equipped to any penguin monster, it gains 800 attack points when the equipped monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent. You can return one card of your opponent's control to the hand. If face up card opponent leaves the field by penguin card effect, return to the hand is banished, negate the effects of it. So it does a lot of stuff. But yeah, penguin sword. There you go. Yes, there are people will be surprised. There are a lot of cute cards that are in Yu-Gi-Oh! But the thing about it is like there's just way too many monsters. There's way too many types of decks that you can build in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it gets very, very complicated. But the one cool card that was gifted to me was this one. And I like it a lot. And this is Dragon Master Knight. And the reason why I like it so much is because this is the actual design that they actually used in the actual cartoon for the card. And this one guy had like copies of that. So, you know, when you win like giveaways and stuff like that, I got one from a giveaway, and that was what was gifted to me here. And even the back actually looks like how they did the card backing on the actual cartoon series, which is nice. Yeah, that's the Exodia head, but this is only a handful of what I just recently bought here. And no, I'm not going out and spending, you know, my hard-earned money. Like I'm not spending like 40 and 50 and 60 bucks for one card. It's like this is just like cards that I've been picking up for like $1 here, $2 there. So it's kind of nice. I see the little face of the cover. That is so cute. Yep. Yep. So yep, that I was hoping to get more of these cards. I have to remember which seller has them because he was giving these away. So I saw the one that I really want that he had that night was what was his name? Genzo. The monster that actually negates all trap cards. He had that one in the television series here. Oh, and hello, Chris. How's everything going here? Yeah, it's like you should come over and see if Charles and John will give you cards. They have a lot here. If I built this deck 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to be like, "Oh, let's see how your deck building is. We want to challenge it." And it's like, I don't know, but yeah, they might have some stuff that I'm actually missing here. And Micah is saying, "Oh, nice." It's like everybody saying hello to Chris here, but I do have other stuff, other cards here. Like I said, I'm not going to show you anything that is 100% deck related here. I don't own that card as of yet. I don't own that card, but that's part that one card that I need to get is called a baby tiger, and you have to see it. It is a cute little baby tiger. It has like 400 attack points and everything, but it was a cute little thing here. But I don't have it as of yet. I mean, it's like the only other thing that might be. I mean, they have things like cybernetic ballerinas and tutus. So it's like weird stuff like that here. Cybernetic gymnast, and I can't hold on to the cards because I try not to mess them up here. But stuff like that here. But it is what it is for right now. But if I showed you what I was building, it would defeat the purpose. It would defeat the purpose right now until it's actually built. And Elaine says she's going to be right back. Yes, it's a little bit of something for everyone in this game if you take the time and energy to look up every card here. However, one of the bad things and one of the reasons why I fell off of collectible card games, at least today, people get too, if I could say, cliquish, meaning that it's like, well, I want to win right away, so everybody plays the pretty much the same type of deck, the same type of strategy, and all this other stuff. They don't venture out. And Yu-Gi-Oh is one of those games. It's like, yeah, these cute little creatures can do some hellified damage if you figure out the right card combination to go with them. But it is what it is here. Everybody wants to win. Nobody wants to explore and be happy about the cards that they got here and think about it here. And just for Micah, I'm going to show Micah these two because Micah likes the anime here. This character should seem familiar to you here. And let me take him out the deck protector. This character should seem familiar because she was in actual GX here. That's Tanya. That's one of Tanya's cards here. That's one of Tanya's skill cards, by the way. So that's what it looks like on the back, and that's the actual skill that she has here. So, she is actually from the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series and everything here. And is also a major clue to what type of deck that I'm actually building too. Because this is not in my deck, but this came with the starter deck that I have to use to try to rebuild it from. Yeah, strategy, a lot of strategy. But the reason why I bring this up as far as the break by actually, trying to build the Yu-Gi-Oh set and everything, it gives me an opportunity to start thinking about other stuff. And not only about strategy and building the deck, but it also helps me to think about strategy of where I could take some of my stories based upon my nostalgia for this particular deck and my history with playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Online and everything to that magnitude. Everything falls back. Yes, it is a distraction. I should be taking more time as Micah pointed out, to do more stuff like this. However, you need that break. You need to get a fresh perspective. You might have to take a moment to be like, what haven't I done in this standpoint and this, that, and the other? See, I told you. I told you. I told you, Elaine. And Elaine, I have actually told Leia and Beanie, it's like, I'm glad that they're not into Yu-Gi-Oh! Glad that they're into Pokemon. The Pokemon crowd is a lot friendlier than the Yu-Gi-Oh! Crowd. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Crowd is a very cutthroat and cliquish type bunch. And what makes it even more frustrating, as much as I'm up here trying to finish off building this deck, the cards that I need are rather common cards, but nobody wants to give them up because they're older cards. And they're not even older cards that are worth money. They're just older cards and nobody wants to give them up here. That's just a weird thing here. It's like, nice work. It's like, nice work. true strategy is a cool part of, yeah, that's the whole thing here. Freaked out because he collected Pokemon. He has, it's like it's half. Wow. Like I said, the Pokemon crowd is very, very cool. They're laid back, relaxed. The Yu-Gi-Oh crowd, if they catch on to a trend or see a deck that actually works, and their first impulse is, I'm going to mimic that deck and add my own spin to it before I can win, instead of build something of your own. Build. The whole thing about Yu-Gi-Oh was the harder cards. And that was the whole cartoon series, if you have not watched season 0, the original first season of Yu-Gi-Oh in Japan. If you haven't watched that, all the other series always talks about having belief in what you build and the strategy behind it. Yu-Gi-Oh, the first season, Yu-Gi-Oh season 0, that was a dark stuff. It's like, I can understand why it didn't come out here in the States. It was too dark for a collectible card game. I would just say it that way. And then some of the Shonen Jump stuff was even worse during that time frame. I bet you he does. Yeah, the anime proved it. Yep. Some of my favorite cards, I feel that I probably want to not ever get my hands on ever again. I'm just happy that I bought a magical cylinder that's coming in the mail soon. That was one of my favorite old cards of all time. Yeah, Charles would vouch for how dark Yu-Gi-Oh will get. The original Yu-Gi-Oh was very, very dark in nature. And when I say dark, I'm talking about the aspect. It was not, healthy, friendly Yu-Gi-Oh cartoon. The story is dark. The whole aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh no game was usually more or less life or death. It was a very dark manga. Yeah, I want to see that. I love dark anime as I do love Yu-Gi-Oh. Yes. If you have the time here, Micah, look up Yu-Gi-Oh season 0 and start watching those episodes. I mean, we had episodes, and the most dark one, which I believe that they probably took off of YouTube, was the one where Taya got a job at this one diner, and the diner gets held up. And Yugi was there, and a couple other characters, and Yu-Gi-Oh season 0 had other characters beyond Joey and Tristan. There was another girl that Tristan would do anything for, and it was just like he was just so much of a hanger on to try to please this one girl, and she was annoying as hell. But there was more characters in their little bitty gang that was not in the Yu-Gi-Oh series that we got here in the States. And then Mokuba, as much as they tried to make him like the weak little brother, Mokuba was evil as heck in season 0. That dude was almost borderline psychotic, trying to prove to Kaiba that he was worth time and effort to hang with him. I mean, that series was dark. But getting back to that episode here, the cafe gets held up and everything. Yugi turns into Yami, and they played a Yu-Gi-Oh no game. Let's just say dude did not survive that no game, and he got kind of on the crispy side because of that no game. And I would leave it at that. And the only reason he got on the crispy side is because dude introduced a firearm in robbing the place here, which put everybody in danger. So now we got his brother Brandon is a huge collector. Whoa, wow. And then we got D Clem over there in Twitch land. It's like, yeah, more, more than he would do things even for mine. Yes. Oh no, that's Joey. Joey would do a lot of things for mine, but we're talking about Tristan. Tristan, they made Tristan in season 0 very girl crazy, but there was this one girl that hung out with him that did not make the transition from season 0 to what we got here in the United States. And man, she was just so annoying and we just didn't need her as a character. Yeah, now, yeah, you have to go. It's like the very first episode introduced the Yu-Gi-Oh! No game scenario, and I was like, yeah, I was hooked from there because you never know where it was going. The most messed up dark moment in a as an aftermath to a Yu-Gi-Oh! No game was this one teacher who was so caught up on her looks that all the other male teachers would always take her side and everything. But none of them would actually saw her what she was like on the inside, the ugliness on the inside here. So Yugi, changed to Yami, and it was like, look, I know that you lied on us and this, that, and the other to give us attention, this, that, and the other. Let's do it this way. Let's do a Yu-Gi-Oh! No game. He broke 2 mirrors. The no game was you got to reassemble this mirror in its actual orientation blindfolded. First one to do it wins. Something simple. Nothing cutthroat or anything to that magnitude. Now, said teacher cheated, raised up her blindfold and did, acted like she was still feeling around everything. So she put it together without the blindfold. Yugi felt it that she did. I was like, okay, fine. You want to cheat? He's like, you want to cheat at this? Look at that mirror. And as soon as she looked at the mirror, she saw her face contorted and broken and twisted and all this other stuff. And it became permanently ingrained in her that was her image from that point forward. She saw herself that way from that point forward. And from that day after, she was like, nobody looks at me. I am ugly. I am this, that, and the other. And nobody understood why she would always cover up. And it's like she would always try to cover her face and this, that, and the other, even though nothing physically happened to her. That no game messed her up to where she honestly believes that she is that image that's still in that mirror. That's how deep season 0 was. And that I'm not up here trying to get people to watch season 0, but I'm just trying to get people to understand. It's like, yeah, what we got here in the States was not always rainbows and lollipops. We missed the harder dark stuff that was in the mangas over there, in the actual anime over there. Oh, so D Clem is there. Yep. Now he really wants to see. And D Clem is saying hi. Yeah, Aaron, we're up here talking about distractions and how Yu-Gi-Oh was distracting me here, but it's also giving me better focus on what I also need to do once I have completed my task over here, recreating my deck that I played online and everything. And now I have like more energy to kind of focus on my creative endeavors because I got, inspired by putting together my old deck and everything to that magnitude here. And Christy's showing nice little hearts and everything to that magnitude. Oh, even more Tristan would I don't know. That was not that was messed up in the US series. In the US series about how Tristan kind of got with Joey's sister. At first I was up here thinking season 0, but no, you're up here talking about the original Yu-Gi-Oh series all the way, after Duelist Kingdom. Yeah, it was kind of messed up that all of a sudden he started hanging out and this, that, and the other. And then after she regained her eyesight, they became kind of like a couple. Yeah, it was kind of messed up in that aspect here. Yeah, it's like it's pretty good still hanging here with friends. Yep. Yeah, you missed new comic book pickups earlier here, Aaron, and like I said, I'm saying that this is more of a distraction. It's like sometimes you have to have those moments of distraction to get your mind off of things where you can refocus, and that's what Yu-Gi-Oh is doing for me right now. And I thought that was kind of like interesting to kind of bring that up here. It's still nothing brand new up on the sun. It's like I'm not going to be like, oh man, I gotta go play Yu-Gi-Oh forever and this, that, and the other, and neglect what I'm doing with the comic books. Like, no, I'm just going to focus on building my old deck, and once I have finished building it, I could come right back and then like double down on everything here because I had a nice little break and everything. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like when Jean Grey used the Phoenix power and then messed up Sinister's physically. Well, what Phoenix did was she actually aged him to his proper age. People don't realize what happened with Sinister is that experiment that he performed on himself made him immortal. And what Jean did to him with the Phoenix Force was actually put him in his actual age. He actually saw what he looks like in his proper age. Now, mind you, this guy, Sinister in the cartoon series would have been way over 100 plus years old. And when I say over 100 plus, we're talking about like 120, 130 years old. He was 18th century. So he would have been way over 100 years old. So when he got aged up to his proper age, it made sense. It was like lollipops. Oh boy, you guys are silly. Yeah, Joe is working on building a deck, and my sons want to play him so they could take his cards. Not going to happen. I don't play for keeps. I don't play for keeping cards. Nope. I play only for fun. I play only for fun, and I know I'm not playing to go on to the tournament circuit. I don't have the time nor energy anymore. And for those who have never played collectible card games on a professional level, it's almost like your every waking moment is looking up new information about new cards and all this other stuff that's coming out, rules changes, how banned, what cards are got banned, and all this other stuff. And it's a constant daily grind to it. Do I miss it? Hell no. That was from my college days when I had nothing else better to do in between classes. Like, yeah, I could go out here, play this game for a couple hours, win a couple of couple of store tournaments, make anywhere between 25 to $100, and then go out to like one of the more major national ones and attempt to win a bigger pot that way. But it is what it is for back then. That's why I don't have a major problem for younger kids now. If they want to do stuff like that, let them go for it, because it's a lot of training that goes into it. They might not be skilled at soccer. They might not be skilled at baseball. They might not be good at football. But if they got a good mind on their shoulder and everything, and they could, figure out the rules and all this other stuff, and they got good at a game, and they want to test their mettle, it's like, sure, why not? Because they're going to have to practice. They're gonna have to be always up to date on the rules. They have to be up to date on which cards and stuff are banned and could be used and all this other stuff. They have to follow. They have to follow all the other trends and everything, and find countermeasures to deal with that type of stuff. It's no different than going out to playing football or baseball. And at the end, to think about it, in my college days, if I was actually able to be on a baseball team, I probably would have never got into collectible card games the way that I did. I probably would have been playing baseball. But it is what it is. Oh, she got to run. I understand. Life is calling you there in Florida. Besides, you're in the future here, so it's almost like 11 o'clock there. It might be sleepy time for you. It's like, yeah, I gotta go. Yep, I understand my East Coast people. They got things to do. It is a Saturday evening, and it is date night for most people. So 11 p.m. I get it. Yes, it is very nice seeing and talking to all you guys again here. And to think, I will be dropping by soon. I just haven't been able to catch up to you when you're doing your streams for Dead by Daylight or Zelda and everything. It's like you've been broadcasting at different times now, so it's kind of hard for me to catch up. Yeah, I have never heard of season zero until now, so I'm going to watch the Japanese version. Yeah, go out there, find season zero. It would change your aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh, and then when you finally watch a lot of stuff dealing with Duelist Kingdom, and when they finally revealed that Yami Yugi is a Tim, it makes sense. It starts to make sense because that's the way that it is here. And Micah is saying same here. Everybody is saying good night to Christy. Chess is a good game. Chess is a very good game. And the thing about it is, if you're trying to be Kasparov or Bobby Fischer, good luck. Because chess is one of those games that's easy to pick up the basic rules, but it takes decades to really study. Because studying chess is a whole different ball of wax than just playing and just having fun with it. Studying chess is like it's like almost like studying war tactics more so than anything else. Studying the old games, studying like Kasparov versus Deep Blue, studying all the Bobby Fischer matches. Those are a whole different ball of wax altogether because you have to be in their mindset at the time that they're looking at that board. It's not about what you would do. It'd be like thinking what are they thinking and how far ahead are they thinking about their opponent. And that's a whole another can of worms here. And true. Been reading X-Men. Oh, you finally finished Dark Phoenix Saga. What did you think of it here? What did you think of it? Because again, the end of Dark Phoenix Saga was the reason why John Byrne left the X-Men. But we will digress on that for right now, unless you say something else here about that. Oh, you never got to finish Dark Phoenix Saga? Uh-oh. We gotta fix that. We definitely gotta fix that, Elaine. We gotta fix the fact that you haven't finished reading Dark Phoenix Saga. One of the bad things about talking a lot here. Damn the East Coast. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is, but I'm happy for those that are watching on the East Coast. Everybody saying good night to Christy. No, I love this game. It humbles me. Yeah, it hum- it humbles those who have egos about this game. And the one thing that I don't like about it is the actual, if I can say, ranking system. Because if you play a guy that's higher rated than you and you beat them, it gives false sense of accomplishment. Because, like, yeah, you beat a grandmaster, and now everybody wants to come and play you. It's like nobody thinks that's like, hey, I got lucky. He made a mistake. He made a costly mistake. I got lucky. I capitalized off of it. That's one of the reasons why, studying older matches is like you have to be in the mindset of the two people that's sitting there. And it's just like you just don't know, but it is a very humbling game. Yep. It was anticlimactic, but the problem with that was what Jim Shooter said and the possible outcomes. What John Byrne wanted to do would have taken the X-Men in a whole different direction than what Claremont did. Yeah, the self sacrifice, that was okay. That was okay here. If you have ever read the Untold Story of Phoenix, that was the actual way that John Byrne would have resolved the Dark Phoenix saga, because the editor Jim Shooter says, like, no, we just can't let that, we just can't let it ride that this Dark Phoenix entity destroyed this whole planet of innocent people and nothing can be done about it. He was the one that's like, nah, we can't leave it like that. No, no, that was released a while back. I want to say that was released like in like the 80s, and it was told like a what if. It was told more or less like a what if. And and most people have heard the story too. And John Byrne version of how to resolve Dark Phoenix saga is that they figure out a way to get the entity out of her, and it leaves Jean as a vegetable. So, being that Jean was no longer a functioning human being, Xavier pulls a asshole move and brings Jean back to her parents, and pretty much was like, hey, this, that, and the other happened, blah, 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 blah. We are sorry about what happened to your daughter. However, she is no longer suitable to be at the mansion for our school here, and leave them in a bind to deal with Jean in her current state. In doing so, the parents of Jean Grey starts a campaign, anti-mutant campaign, and that anti-mutant campaign is primarily against Xavier, because again, they they treated their daughter this way and kicked her to the wayside in this vegetable state where she is no longer a human. She's just there. It would have been better off if she died. And to go with that story and still build the X-Men with that, with all of the so-called already built in hatred for mutants already there, and then have this story looming about this is how they treat their own. It could have built some very, very interesting stories beyond that. But nevertheless, it is what it is. No, it wasn't. It's not. It's not really spoilers. That is what I'm stating now is known fact. He actually stated that John Byrne actually stated that in interviews. So if you actually looked up interviews about how he felt about Dark Phoenix Saga and everything, he mentioned it in a couple of those interviews. So it's not. I'm not telling it from the actual story points. I'm actually telling it more so from what was mentioned in interviews. And she's saying that's okay, but that's the thing, that's not what is continuity. What is continuity is what you said, and it made sense. It made sense, and we got the X-Men that we got. But that what if aspect of it would have been cool. It would have been cool to see what would have happened if Jean did become like a vegetable. And we're not talking about, no, she didn't get turned into broccoli. It's just like the lights are on, but nothing is working. And they just, you know, here you go, Paris. We broke her. Sorry about that, but she can't be with us no more. The stories that could be told from that, and how people would have felt, after the fact. That it's like, wait, she went to Xavier's school and they did this to her. And they pawned them back off. It would have just spawned a whole nother level of hatred beyond that. Another whole volume of type stories that could have happened dealing with that. Yeah, I had stuff going on at that time and could not get my hands on those books. I remember reading what if she killed Scott and then destroyed the universe. Yeah, that what if. I don't think I have that what if, but I remember reading it. But yeah, the whole fact of the matter that she did destroy that one innocent planet, and Shooter was like, no, we just can't have a so-called hero to say, oops, my bad. She has to have some consequences for destroying that planet. That's the whole reason why Claremont and Byrne team up split, because they couldn't agree. They couldn't agree story-wise. Yeah. Again, she used Storm. She actually used Storm's fear. She actually used Storm's fear against her to get her out the way. Unlike unlike what they did in the cartoon. If you watch X-Men 97 season 1, when she took on the adversary, that was a very interesting moment there, dealing with her claustrophobia and how the adversary brought her underground, and she had to literally fight her claustrophobia to get out. She had to constantly remind herself, it's like, no, this is temporary. I have to keep moving. I am not stuck here. It's like it's like, even if I don't have my powers, I am who I am. It's like her claustrophobia comes back to even though the adversary was using it against her, it actually allowed her to get back to the point where she regains her powers. No, I knew what you meant here. We knew what you meant here, Elaine. But that's kind of like the thing about a lot of the older X-Men books here. Dark Phoenix is a great read dealing with the whole Phoenix saga. The whole Phoenix saga altogether. But I do agree with Ari. It was anticlimactic because it was self-sacrificial, but it's not the ending that Byrne would have liked to have here. Yup. where she came to her senses. Yep. And I believe from that point forward, Doctor Doom, after that butt whipping and after the butt whipping that Luke Cage did, it's like he has a good respect for people of African American descent. Luke Cage came into Latveria, almost literally destroyed his castle for a bill of $500, and dude was like, really? $500? You beat my armies to this degree. You messed up my castle, and this, that, and the other for what? A bill that was $500? He's like, fine, here, take all these treasure chests of gems and stuff. That should cover it. Now leave. Get out of Latveria. But that's the one thing that I like about Pietro. Pietro deep down has a very good heart. His heart is why that makes him a very good X-Men. Again, for a person that in his osmonium steel form is immortal, as long as he stays in that form. Yeah, it's like you can split them apart, break them apart, melt them, do all this other stuff. He would still reform and keep on ticking. And that's the messed up thing about Pietro. It's like in his human form, it's like it is what it is. But everybody wants to always be in osmodium steel form. It's just so messed up here. Yep, he did. He literally did, and Doom could not do anything about it. And like I said, it's like after those two encounters, it's like if I was writing Doom, I would have been like, such and such is coming after coming to Latveria for this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, who is it? Who's this person? Yada yada yada. It's like, what descent is he? African American. Pay the man and let him go. Pay the man and get him out of here. I'm not dealing with that right now. I have taken too many ass whoopings for people of that nature. No, we just don't mess with them. We just don't mess with them. But usually that is typically the case here. But that was the whole point of tonight's topic here. It was not really to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. It's not really to talk about you know building card decks or playing collectible card games. It was more about the distraction. Sometimes we need that distraction, whether it be binging out on Netflix or HBO Max or something to that magnitude, going to play 2 or 3 days worth of rounds of golf. You have to have that point where you could go and separate yourself from your work for a bit here, for you can get that fresh perspective where you could refresh and recharge and then come back and be like, I know what I need to work on. I know how I'm going to finish up this project. I know how I'm going to approach that project now, and this, that, and the other. You just can't sit there and completely be like comic books, or writing, or drawing. I mean, who would have thought over this last week I'd be doing nothing but pinups? And I just like, the only reason I've been doing nothing but pinups because I'm sitting up here, it's like, oh, this Yu-Gi-Oh card looks interesting. I wonder who did the artwork on this. And thinking to myself, it's like, yeah, card artwork is nothing more than a pinup itself. So I just start just doing different pinups and everything. And not only that, all the artwork that I showed you guys were work that I did back in the day that I just updated through DAW Studio and did all the natural tweaks and everything for the iRay rendering to get it almost, to like photorealistic type stuff. And these are like older models. These like, Genesis 2 and Genesis 3 models. This I'm not even using either Genesis 9 or Genesis 8. So these are like the older models that I'm using now in these pinups. So it's just a lot. And like I said, it's like having that distraction and doing that allowed me to come back and double down and be like, hey, I could have did this, that, and the other to improve this work and this, that, and the other. So yeah, that's that. Now Elaine gets it. Now Elaine gets it because everybody, most of my comic book people is like, why is he talking about Yu-Gi-Oh? It's like, no, I'm not really trying to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, but we went into it because why? Don't do half don't do things halfway. If you're going to get into the game with Yu-Gi-Oh and build decks and stuff like that, know what you're talking about, learn the rules, this, that, and the other. That's all that I can say as far as that. But the real reason is that I'm saying it was a distraction that kind of inspired me to go back and do these other things here. And that's the key thing here. Never put yourself in a position where you get burnt out. And if you get burnt out, the only way to come back out of that burnout is to separate yourself, recharge, and once you do something else for a while and you recharge, then you could objectively look at the situation and say, hey, am I truly tired of doing this? Or B, that was a good escape. Now I know what I need to do to get where I need to go. And that's pretty much it here. And I do know that my East Coast people have left here, but I'm grateful for my West Coast and Midwesterners here for sticking with me this long here. Unless you guys got questions or comments here, we're probably going to wrap it up a little bit earlier than normal here. We don't always have to go 2 hours here, but at least we covered what we need to cover here. Keeping our fingers crossed over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have more comic books coming in. We're going to have probably a status of where I'm at with the Yu-Gi-Oh deck. To be quite honest here, technically I could actually play the deck that I built as is, but I know I'm missing a couple of key spell cards and trap cards that I need, and a couple of monsters that I actually need to make it 100% the way that it is here. Yeah, it is good to take a break, and that's the key thing here, and that's the reason why I'm and endorsing it in this way here, and the reason why I kind of make the joke in the thumbnail saying that it's time to do it, or at least draw some comic pages or draw some comics. It's either or, it's like sometimes you need that distraction. Sometimes we need to go on that binge watching of X-Men 97. Sometimes we need to go to an actual baseball game or actual boxing match or whatever it is else that you enjoy, to get away for things before you come back, recharge, refresh, and ready to do things here. It is just that way. And no matter what it is, whatever job that you have, whether it be comic book creating, your 9 to 5 job, in my case, customer service and tech support, whatever it is, you need that break away from it to be able to come back and be objective and see things for what it really is here. Yeah, chess is a good distraction because you're going to put all that mind power and brain power into thinking several moves ahead. And if you're able to do that successfully, guess what? You can come back and take that skill and put it towards other aspects of your life. That's why chess is a very good game to learn. Switching gears. No, you don't need to switch gears. You don't have to switch gears. But that's the key thing here. You have those distractions that do actually help you in the long run here. And on that note, I think we don't have. Oh, wait, hold on. We got Olivia. I need the Landstar cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, see, I'm not I'm not into those monsters here. However, I'm not certain. Well, there's a couple of places. There are probably a couple of places on whatnot that probably have the Landstar cards that you'd be looking for. So I would start there. One of the things that I've been avoiding here, I've been trying not to use eBay for anything. If anything, I'd rather talk to another person who actually plays the game or understands the game to see if they got the cards first here. I have an event this week, but I'm hoping to get those covers done next month. Also, I need to pack I need another pack of to do book 2. We might be able to work. We might be able to do something here because I'm up here. It's like I'm thinking to myself. It's like, you know what? I do have to do some Bristol board shopping here. So if I do, try to get an order of Bristol boards, I might tap you on the shoulder. It's like, hey, I'm about to order Bristol board. This is what I'm seeing as far as prices, and let you know what I'm about to get ready to pay for the Hero Lane. And with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday here, except for, well, actually, my East Coast people still got about 30 minutes of their Saturday left here. So everybody go enjoy their Saturday. And let's see, Olivia. It's like, yeah, I heard that X-Men 97 is going to have 6 seasons on Disney Plus. I have not heard that. That might be a rumor, but then again, technically, one of the rumors was that we're not even supposed to have season 2 because of what had happened with the showrunner. They got rid of the showrunner after season 1, so we don't know what's going to happen, in between seasons anymore. Nothing is ever guaranteed. But it would be nice if they did have 6 seasons of X-Men 97. It would be nice. I'm just going to take it as like, at the end of season 2, let's see what they do. If they're going to keep this showrunner or they're going to go to somebody else here. Yeah, keep me informed. I will. Good night, everybody, and night, Elaine. So on that note, let life grow and be well. And I'll catch you here next Saturday, right here on From the Dust of Small Press Publisher. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and Sunday. Bye.